This week, Doug Armstrong was honored at the Missouri Athletic Club with the Stan Musial Lifetime Achievement Award. He hasn't been here a lifetime, but he did come to St. Louis in 2008. Now, as we speak, the Blues are in the middle of a 3-game losing streak, but you can't deny Doug's very impressive resume, including what he's done on the international stage. Many hockey observers think he will end up in the Hall of Fame. And we begin our Sunday conversation with a thought on that topic.
If that was ever to happen, Frank, to get there as a coach or a manager, you have to be part of great teams. And so there's so much work that everybody else does. I think you can get to the Hall of Fame as a player on bad teams. You can't get to the Hall of Fame or even considered in it as a manager or coach on bad teams. So anything that we do is based on the off the backs of great work by our players and our staff. So it's always nice when people like yourself say that. But I hope there's a lot of work left ahead before I have to get to that point.
You've been the GM here since 2010. Only 5 people in professional sports have been GMs longer than you. Do you own compromising photos of Mr. Stillman? How have you kept this job this long?
Well, I don't know. Mr. Stillman's a great supporter, and I think our relationship, it started out as he was my boss, and then we became friends. And we had a conversation today, and we talked like that. And I said, I understand you're always going to be my boss, but the friendship means a lot to me. And the reality is, a sport, like, I'm just one day closer to being fired. That's what we sign up for. That's what we understand. But as what I try and give Tom is a blueprint of what I think is going to happen, the good and the bad, and hopefully he signs off on it. And right now we're going through a little bit of a whatever you want to call it.
Speaking of working with good friends, you talk to Ken Hitchcock more than you talk to your wife for a stretch. And was that the toughest thing you ever had to do, was to fire Ken?
By a mile, and because he didn't deserve it. It was just when a shelf life is up, and we were there, and but Ken and I stayed great friends. Obviously, I waited a while before we connected, but when we did, he understood what had to be done, or what I thought had to be done, and we've stayed great friends. He's come back and works with us now. He's a great mentor for Craig right now and the coaching staff, and he's a great friend. I was able to go to the Hall of Fame when he got inducted with Pierre Turgeon a few weeks ago, and so happy for Ken, and he's still a big part of what we do here every day, because he's just his hockey knowledge is second to none.
One of the things you've always done is surround yourself in the front office with superstars. Martin Brodeur, Al MacInnis, Keith Tkachuk, Scott Mellanby. Tell me why.
I actually read something in a Lincoln on leadership, and the premise was, like, if you want to be a good leader, be the dumbest guy in the room. That means put yourself around much smarter people, and I always believe that. The one thing, Frank, I've never been able to do is say, I know what you're going through as an NHL player. I've been around the NHL, but I've never actually sat on the bench or been in the locker room for a game. And so having Brodeur, MacInnis, Mellanby, Tkachuk around, they can share that message, our vision, with the players from a been there, done that point of view. And for me, that's very important.
Your hockey team now, you've had 2 unbelievable performances, one against Colorado, one against Las Vegas. What does that say about your club?
That we have a high, our mountaintop is high, and what we'd like to see is get our valley closer to the mountaintop. We've had a fluctuation this year in some of our games where our bad games, we can't stop quick enough, we can't cauterize the wound, and a 1 goal or 2 goal deficit teams 3 or 4. I think we're getting stronger every night doing that, but that's the next phase for us, is to hang into bad games a little bit longer and turn those around.